Hi, my name is Rob Scott from UC Today, and in this session, we're going to be delving into the world of Dropbox and how UC resellers and service providers can take advantage of their modern workspace solution. So today, I'm joined by Tim Britt, Northern and Central Europe Channel Lead at Dropbox, and Alex Whitford, Head of New Business Sales at Nuvias Unified Comms. Welcome.
Hey, good afternoon.
Hey, Rob.
Hi there. So welcome, Tim. Welcome, Alex. Probably the best place to start is with some intros. Tim, would you like to go first and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do for Dropbox?
Yeah, so I look after our channel team across Northern and Central Europe. Dropbox, I've been with us now for about 18 months. Some of you may know me from my prior role when I was at Polycom for 6.5 years. So I have a real good insight into what the UC industry is and how Dropbox is looking to help support you and take this product to market.
Great stuff. And over to you, Alex.
Yeah, so I've been head of new business sales now for just over a year, been 2 years at Nuvias, and really the idea behind my role is to find new revenue streams for Nuvias and really new revenue streams for our partners as well, and how we can really get a go-to-market strategy tied together to help drive continuous growth.
Great stuff. Thanks, Alex. So to kick this off today, it's an interesting one for me because when I first found out about this session, I equally thought, how do we align Dropbox with UC? So I think the first place to start is let's talk about what Dropbox actually is. And we're talking about specifically Dropbox Business here. So Tim, you are perfectly placed to answer this question. What is Dropbox Business?
Yeah, good start. So if we step back and look at how Dropbox was formed, and about 12 years ago, our founder was sat on a bus from to New York and forgot his USB stick. And instead of, like most of us, probably watching The Simpsons or something, he sat there and started writing some code. So Dropbox was originally born about getting our files in the cloud and having a central position on where to keep everything. And most of you will all know Dropbox as a brand and how fast that kind of grew in the early days. And then after about 6-7 years, we started to find that people were bringing Dropbox into the workplace and starting to use the technology to help share documents and work on that kind of first real team collaboration application. And so out of the kind of birth that Dropbox evolved into Dropbox Business. And really that was us then putting a lot more security protocols around the product and really making it an application that organizations could centrally manage and build. So historically, we're very much known as what we call file sync and share, and somewhere where you can go and store something very safely and people can work it together. And then really over the last kind of 18 months, we've now evolved on what we call now kind of second wave into what the smart workplace is how do we now start to integrate into this raft of applications that everyone is using, whether that's from technology around video conferencing to project management. But ultimately, all these applications now require a central storage for all of your content. And really, we've evolved that now into this, what we're calling the smart workplace of Dropbox Business. So there's been a huge change in our product. So a lot of you will know us as that original file sync and share. And hopefully over the course of this session today, you'll learn more on how we can help you take this as a kind of full end-to-end unified communication content application to market. So hopefully that gives you kind of a high level view into terms of where we came from and what we're doing to move forward, I suppose.
That's great. Thanks, Tim. And Alex, Nuvias UC, value add distributor. I know you guys pretty well, and you, I suppose, really leading the way in terms of kind of distribution nowadays and digital distribution with lots more software in your warehouse, if you will. But how did that journey go for you? Meeting Dropbox and making that decision to onboard Dropbox as a product within your UC portfolio. How does that fit?
Sure. So I think if we take a step back and we look at holistically what Nuvias UC has really driven towards and what's made it successful over the last 10 years, it's been around analyzing our customers, but more importantly, what their customers are after. So if we look at our service providers, we've worked really, really hard to build organic API integration and free distribution model that's enabled us to really scale. And what we're seeing is that those customers are looking for a much more well-rounded UC offering. So for our service providers in particular, voice is always going to be the nucleus of their business, but actually we're seeing that application layer become more and more important. So we scoured our vendor base to find out what applications we could layer on top to, as Tim says, not just offer a sort of one product portfolio, but actually we're building a much more well-rounded unified communication and collaboration solution. So we've worked with Dropbox and with other partners to make sure that actually we know that when a customer decides they've got a problem with flexible working or business continuity, Nuvias offer a suite of solutions that we can almost bundle together, Dropbox playing a really key part in that.
I mean, from my point of view, why we chose Nuvias, if I look at the market research out there, UC as a service, predictive growth around 25%. If you look at teamwork apps as a service, this isn't Microsoft Teams or Slack, but applications that bring multiple people together. We're seeing, upwards of 60% growth now over the next 2 years. So for me, looking for a distributor to take us to market, Nuvias fitted that sweet spot because their current resellers are selling into, if you look at the whole meeting experience, you're selling technology to improve the meeting experience. So whether that's from a voice perspective or from a video conferencing perspective. But if you look at it from our point of view, content starts pre-meeting, during meeting and post-meeting. So it's a natural fit for the resellers out there who are looking at workplace transformation and that user journey from initial IM, voice call, conference call, video, and bring that whole content piece, it's kind of the missing pie. So having a distributor that's very strong in that space was a natural fit for Dropbox to go to market with.
I think it makes a great point, right? I think as businesses and users, just consumerly and commercially, our standards have got higher around technology. Our expectation is just higher and higher as we get to use technology more and more at home. Now, Dropbox fulfills a fantastic role in that because it's not just in-meeting content, which is traditionally what communication's been about. We're now seeing unified communication and collaboration become a buzzword, and that and collaboration is really important because that's the collaboration during the meeting room, but actually it's not just having that call, it's not just having that video conferencing, Zoom call, whatever it is, it's actually the bit before and after, and being able to jointly annotate documents so we can get to-do lists set up, annotation done. That's all really important, and really what we're ultimately driving for, the business outcome, is better efficiency. And if you can have a really great meeting because of the technology, but the pre-work and the post-work of that meeting is also set up correctly, which Dropbox is a really strong player for, ultimately that just means our partners have a better solution to offer.
Right, so if I'm a UCaaS service provider or reseller and I'm looking at Dropbox as a solution, how do I best position Dropbox within my portfolio? Could you give us an example of how it's maybe been successful already?
Yeah, I think just the people who've done well over the last year is moved us from this kind of data governance box. So historically you would have UC stack, productivity stack, security and so on, and you'd have applications in those different business units that you would take to market. Now, if you take some of the MSPs, what they've done is moved us from that data governance, this is kind of our off-site storage, and put us across the whole landscape. We have very strong open APIs with over 100,000 applications globally now. So you start looking into the use cases on why people are using Dropbox, is we provide that kind of cradle to grave, end to end storage solution, but integrates with every application that you're using. And if you look at the market now, you can deploy an application within hours, run it for 6 months on a project and sunset it and move on to the next best of breed application. The days of now investing in software that you would have on a perpetual license for 5 to 7 years with a service plan, long gone, most CIOs now will look at what challenges they have in the business and buy the best of breed technology. And this can be a startup solution all the way through to some of the larger Microsoft, Salesforce, Oracles. But what none of these are really creating, these, things like HubSpot, they're not a content store. So ultimately, it's a business's IP that they're protecting. So they put the Dropbox layer in with integrations into every application in the business, but then they sell that as a service offering. They're not buying a single product, they're buying a platinum solution that will answer and address every challenge in the organization. So the resellers who are looking at that are the ones that have been successful. When we talk to, a lot of resellers out there, if you're only selling one or two cloud applications, you're at what we call a risk of one-click churn. It's so easy now for a customer to say, I'm going to go and buy my software from somewhere else. But if you've baked it into your offerings and you have all the security protocols and links into all of your business applications, that's protecting your business. And you find that the renewal rates are a lot higher while the resellers are doing that than the resellers who are just coming in, selling the licenses and deploying. So.
Absolutely. I think wherever we see any technology really adopted and sold well, it's always driven by business outcomes. So why are we looking at the technology in the first place, and what are we trying to drive to? And I think Dropbox, because of its a standardization across several different layers of the business, as well as being able to integrate with other applications, what we're trying to always do ultimately is drive towards efficiency. And those level of integration that Tim's on about, to be able to integrate into different document platforms, that efficiency, have to use fewer applications, less training, more security, that's what we want to drive towards. And we're seeing our base pick that up and be very successful there.
I mean, the easiest way to look at it, and it's quite a really simple analogy, everyone has a C drive, and I call it the trunk. You throw all your folders in there and your documents and everything, and you spend hours trying to find that one bit of information or that old PowerPoint, whatever it might be. But your kind of C drive has just grown and grown and grown. The explorer of a computer hasn't really changed since about 95. If you look, it's that simple click on C drive, list and files. But if you look in our personal lives, what's happening? So Sky Television is the greatest thing. Originally we had 3, 4, depends on how old you are, TV channels. Then Sky came along, and then you had more and more. And then we got to the point where all you were doing is searching through the channel list to find something to watch. There was no intelligence that sat behind it. Along came Netflix, and you log into Netflix now, and it will suggest content based on the user experience that you want. So if you watch a certain genre, you'll get recommendations for something else to watch. And we did the same with advertisements. We didn't just build more billboards. We started looking at smart advertisement, and the same with shopping. If we didn't go and build lots and lots of super shopping centres. We actually started looking at online smart shopping. You bought this pair of jeans last time. We recommend that you'll do it this time. Now, this is what we're now doing with Dropbox, is creating a smart workplace. So when you log into Dropbox now, we will suggest content based on people that you interact with, what meetings you've got coming up and who's in that meeting, what content you recently worked on as part of a project. And using things like machine learning, we'll learn the way that you work and suggest content that's applicable to you. I think the stat is something like that. If you're disturbed when you're working on something, so if you're sat at the desk in the office and someone disturbs you, it can take you 11 minutes to get back to the point that you were there before, or to find the content that you need to deliver that project. So yes, we started off as file sync and share, but the smart workplace now is really enabling people to become more productive and more efficient by suggesting the content that you need. And to do that, we have to work with all the other applications that users love. We're not going to build a full end-to-end solution, but ultimately, when you drill back on it, content is the fundamental beginning of everything. So if you've got an application that you can effectively and speedily work on stuff, then a lot of people are starting to like that. We're now over 600 million users now globally from our consumer and our business unit. So from a usage and adoption point of view, it's a very simple solution to use.
Fantastic. So if I'm a reseller and I'm interested in looking at Dropbox Business and bringing that into my portfolio, What's the best way to kind of take this on board? Alex, do you have an onboarding process over at Nuvias for this?
Yes, yeah, absolutely, we do. And the thing we always advise, because while Dropbox is almost a one-size-fits-all solution, because it's so versatile, it's actually not a one-size-fits-all route to market, because we see a lot of different players sell it differently, incorporate it into their offering differently. Some they use it as a benchmarker for Microsoft, some they want to standardize on it completely. And so what we want to do is have a conversation around, what does Dropbox mean to you? Why are you onboarding it? And how can we really make that successful? And what Tim and I are very keen to do is throw a load of marketing weight behind that, throw a full sales business plan behind that, and really drive that forward, because we've seen when it's been picked up, when we've API'd it automatically into someone's service, that's when we're truly successful. And what we're ultimately driving towards is scalable, because that's when actually you're going to see the full return on all that preliminary work.
Yeah, I think, and that's really important. Dropbox is a platinum product at the end of the day, and if your customer is just looking for, somewhere to save an Excel file, then, there is other good solutions on the market. If your customer has real business challenges, and, for example, we support AutoCAD. So if you imagine you've got an architect, historically you would have to go to site with your big piece of paper, and the builder would then approve the drawings, or the builder would have to travel back to the headquarters of the architect to approve the next step. What they can do now, they can send an AutoCAD file to the builder on site. He can pick that up by clicking on the link with his mobile or iPad. He can open that document in Dropbox. He can preview AutoCAD without needing the licenses. He can then comment, and that feeds back centrally then to obviously people. Now, you think about the time saving that has, saved the organization just by that speed to market. And there's thousands of those business workflow examples. So as part of the onboarding process, we help enable your sales teams and your technical teams to really, one, qualify your customers, is Dropbox the right solution, but really help you sell it. And if you can get into that type of positioning, then we have such a huge success rate in customers taking our products. And that's all goes back to onboarding properly, than just putting our brand on your website and hoping for the best.
Exactly that. I think Tim's highlighted a fantastic end user example of why Dropbox can be sold so versatile. There's a lot of versatility to it, but also how in a sales engine we want to be very adaptable to the opportunity in front of us. So we're seeing people standardize on Dropbox and sell it as part of very much a UC solution, but there are other players who are selling this as an IT solution, and we know that actually requires a different sales model, different training, different marketing. So what we want to do is have a conversation around the opportunity and what we can really do to support. We've never been a distributor that wants a one-size-fits-all sales process, because actually our customers are too unique and there's too big an opportunity to just put it all in one box.
Yeah, fantastic. I've got to echo the user interface or the user experience of Dropbox in 2020 is fantastic. I logged in just a week or so ago to have a look around, and the ability to preview files without having the software, like Photoshop files and that kind of thing, I found invaluable. So really, really impressed, and the whole search capabilities.
Yeah, I mean, one of our biggest customers, and this is the thing, we are from, don't think this is an enterprise or an SMB, it's everything. So our minimum deployment is 3 seats, our biggest deployment is over 30,000. And, when you look into the use cases on why, even around previewing video files, one of our customers, they're looking at hundreds of gigs worth of video files. You try and download those each time, you're just going to kill your bandwidth. So the ability to preview in Dropbox and comment and, make suggestions is just such a huge time-saving experience for everybody. And I think that's one of the core benefits of, why people, resellers sell Dropbox and why customers buy it. And going back to why kind of the UCaaS sellers, if you look at what we call the 3 C's of collaboration, is content, communication, and coordination. So you guys are very good at selling the communication point of view. We can help with the content side of it and coordinating this all together. So there's things that you can do. You can right click on a file and launch your content into certain technologies, meeting room experiences. So I haven't got to leave my file that I'm working on, I just right click and launch, and it looks at my calendar, sees that I'm in a video conferencing room, and pushes the content straight to the room. You know, that 1 or 2 click mentality is key to obviously success of a lot of this stuff.
Fantastic. And it is enterprise ready, isn't it? Because I mean, you mentioned 30,000 users there. I do align Dropbox naturally with large enterprise as a solution for those, the large and the small organizations. Is that fair to say, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, literally, you know, storing data is our business, you know. So whether you're a consumer, an SMB, a mid-market, or an enterprise, you get the same encryption, the bank level security, you know. The good thing about Dropbox is it starts then to allow us to incorporate into your wider security protocols. We have a lot of partnerships out there with people like Cafe and Semantic, Cisco, you know, so we can start to do things around 2FA, single sign-on with Microsoft security measures. So you haven't got, you know, you can incorporate into your current security protocols, and you can also, from a central point, manage the administration rights of the users. You know, ultimately the biggest threat or breach to anyone's data is generally at user level. So we have the ability to do, you know, no external sharing, you know, no download. So if someone accidentally shares a folder, it can't be downloaded. And you also have the ability to roll back environments. So if you have been breached, you can roll back your Dropbox environment to make sure there's no additional threats in there. So there's a huge raft of security protocols that are enterprise grade, but from a consumer level and an SMB level, you get to, you know, benefit from all of that, you know, because ultimately storing people's data is our business, and, you know, security is our number one priority.
It was actually one of the key reasons we chose to work with Dropbox is Nuvias UC as a disty from an end user perspective. You know, this month we'll be closing an opportunity for 10,000 users, and then we'll also, our service provider model, we have service providers that specialize in 5 to 10 seats and crank multiples of those out on a daily basis. And what we wanted was a vendor that was going to encapsulate the opportunity right at the large enterprise, but also give us really good breadth across our entire sales team.
Great. So if you're a service provider or reseller looking to add additional value into your collaboration, or you see Kitbag or Stack, then certainly contact Nuvias. Or more information. They can help onboard you. They can give you more information, and ultimately Dropbox Business is behind them to support you as well. It's been really interesting today talking to you chaps. The Dropbox Business solution, I'd highly recommend. I've experienced it personally. It's a fantastic solution nowadays, and, you know, working with Nuvias, you can really be quite successful with this additional new product in your portfolio. So if you want more information, I'd recommend you go to nuvias.com, head for the UC section, and contact someone at Nuvias for more information. But for today, Tim and Alex, thank you very much for taking us through the solution, and I wish you all the best.